So when we look at this first equation right here, we know the parent function is going to be what? Okay, so we know we're going to be dealing with x squared. Remember, it's x plus or minus something squared, all plus or minus something at the end. So let's move our vertical shifting, or let's move our shifting first. Okay, so vertically our vertex gets moved to where? In this example, it gets moved up 3. So there's our plus 3 is on the outside. That's our vertical shift. And our horizontal shift, it got moved where? Got moved to the left 6 units. So x minus a minus 6. Okay, so we know what the inside is going to be. Okay, and so the next thing that we want to do is we want to figure out what's in front. Well, first of all, does this graph open in the normal way where it would be a positive, or in the opposite where it would be a negative? Opens up, so we're expecting it to be positive, so we don't need to put a negative in front. Okay, and so the last thing that we need to do is figure out what is the multiplier. Okay, what is the vertical or the compression or the stretching that happens on this? Well, if we know that our original function looked like this, okay, in our original function we had the point 0, 0, and then we had this point 1, 1. Well, let's take a look and see what happens. Instead of going up 1 over 1, we go to get over 1, we go up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. Okay, so what multiplier are we going to put in front? Yeah, and so you can find that by looking at your sketch or your graph. Okay. All right, I want you to try the next one here on your own. It's absolute value. And I want you to see if you can find all the different parts to this. And again, the vertical shift, horizontal shift, any reflection, and any stretching or compression. Okay, I had mentioned this before. Okay, if you see, and I'll try to fix these when I come across them. Okay, so if you see it like this, go ahead and message me, and I'll try to fix it. But if you can see here, this point, it doesn't line up right on that grid marking, but I'm not going to give you shifting that doesn't. I'm not going to give you partial shifting. It's going to be full integer values. And so this should be, if you see that it's this close here to this y value of -5, it's supposed to be a -5. Okay. Again, it's just the graphing on here is not showing it. Okay. But I should be able to put a dot on there so that you can see exactly where it's supposed to hit. So if you see something like that where that endpoint doesn't come exactly to where you are expecting it to at the grid markings, the intersection of the grids, please message me or let me know so I can try to add something that will fix that. All right, so on this one, we know our parent function is what? Absolute value. So it's absolute value of x minus something plus or minus something. And again, I leave a space in front to put my multiplier, my a value. Okay, and so when I look at this, I'm first going to start with my vertical shift. Goes where? It gets moved 5 units down, so -5. My horizontal shift gets moved to the right 6 units, which represents x minus 6. Again, it's a value of 6, so I just plug it directly into that sort of template. Am I going to have a negative in front of this? Yeah, my normal graph opened up. This one's opening down, so I'm going to have a negative in front. And now I'm going to look at my the compression or stretching factor. So again, normally my original one for this was just 0, 0, and then 1, 1. So when I look at this, as I move to the right one, here I go down 2 over 1. Okay, so what is my multiplier in front going to be? -2. Okay. And again, that gives me the equation I am looking for. All right, so what's the parent function here? square root of x. So we get something times the square root of x minus plus or minus something, and plus or minus on the outside. Well, let's take a look at our shifting. So starting with my vertical shift, I went down 6, so minus 6. My horizontal shift, I went left 1 is minus 1, so x minus a minus 1. And then when I look at what I have, again, my original function for this looked like this, where I had the point 0, 0, I had the point 1, 1. Okay, again, notice how useful that is. Again, the 1, 1 is often going to be the points that you begin with. You only need 2 points to create your graph if you are graphing these. Okay, so again, it's a good idea to use those. But here, instead of it going up 1 over 1, it's going down 1, 2, 3 over 1. So that gives me a multiplier in front of 3. And is it opening up or down? Down, so it's a negative. And that gives me the equation of this line.